We're joined now by Lanny Davis, Michael Cohen's friend and his former attorney. First of all, Lanny, thank you for joining us, but want to get your reaction to the Robert Costello testimony that has just ended this morning and how he tried to be, I guess, a real sword by the defense team against Michael Cohen's credibility.
Let me say three things very quickly. I know a lot about this Costello situation when I first started to represent Michael. Fact one, he asked to testify to the grand jury after Michael was finished. Very unusual. The prosecution said yes. He came in to testify to the grand jury. After he testified, the grand jury told the prosecutors, and I guess I'm going to just tell you what the prosecutor's reaction was rather than disclosing what they said. The prosecutors were not interested in hearing from Michael to rebut. That's how little weight was given to Mr. Costello by the grand jury. And so that's number one. Number two, he sent a bill for services without an engagement letter. Let me repeat that. He sent a bill with lots of time recorded without having been hired. He said he was hired, but Michael never hired him. That's number two. And number three, why is he a defense witness? Because the defense have nothing to counter the facts that the jury will be looking at in the record, in the evidence, that has nothing to do with Michael Cohen. The facts are undisputed that Donald Trump had political motive to pay off Stormy Daniels. That came from other witnesses, Pecker and Hope Hicks. The facts show that Donald Trump knew these were reimbursements for advances, including Stormy Daniels, not legal fees. So Trump lied about legal fees. And the Weisselberg document, which does the math, 420 divided by 12 equals $35,000 checks, prove that Michael Cohen was reimbursed, not paid for legal fees. That's the fraud. The case has been made without Michael Cohen being believed.
But Lenny, the key part of Trump being tied into this is Michael Cohen. And if Michael Cohen is, well, has credibility issues.
Maybe you didn't hear. Let me repeat one more time what I just said. You can agree, and I respect you so much, of course, disagree with me. The facts speak without Michael Cohen. He confirms, but he doesn't need to be believed because he's corroborated. Fact one, both Mr. Pecker and Hope Hicks say that the money paid to Stormy Daniels was politically motivated. That is a fact from their testimony, not Michael Cohen. Fact two, the Weisselberg document lists all the money that Michael Cohen was reimbursed, times 2 divided by 12 are checks Mr. Trump wrote for $35,000. Those are facts without Michael Cohen's testimony. I just gave you facts and you're interpreting, well, we need Michael Cohen. Of course, Michael Cohen confirms those facts, but everything Michael Cohen has said, even if he has no credibility, has been corroborated.
So you keep talking about the Weisselberg document, which I think is an important piece of evidence. Certainly, we've seen from the prosecution in this case, laying out the Trump-Cohen reimbursement plan. You've called it, in fact, the smoking gun. So what's the jury supposed to make of the fact that Weisselberg didn't testify?
Well, that is up to the defense to explain. And I can't understand every TV show. I love your show, and I respect both of you so much. How come nobody has mentioned so far, other than Costello, that Donald Trump said he would testify? Now, I know he doesn't have to. I believe in the presumption of innocence.
Right, but hold on, because forgive me for interrupting. I don't want to get past the Weisselberg testimony, because that's a key hole right now for people who are looking at the evidence and they're saying if it's his word against somebody else's. He and Weisselberg and Trump, according to Cohen, were the only ones in the room. It is Weisselberg's handwriting on those documents that you're pointing to. Is the prosecution's case hurt at all by not having Weisselberg testify? Do you agree with that decision?
No, I don't. Let me explain to you one more time. If you look at the document carefully, I urge you to do so off the air, as I did when I first saw it behind closed doors. I almost fell off my chair. The document speaks for itself. Believe your lying eyes. There's been authentication. It's his handwriting. He lists the amount of money that Michael Cohen advanced to Mr. Trump and was repaid. He multiplies that by 2 to make him whole on taxes, and he divides by 12. As James Carville would say in another context, it's the math, stupid. There's no reference to legal fees. The document proves that Donald Trump lied when he called them legal fees when he wrote $35,000 checks per month. $35,000 is math, 420,000,
right,
according to what document divided by 12. Case over. It shows that Donald Trump lied about the legal fees. That's the fraud.
Hey,
you don't need Weissel.
So let me ask you, Lanny, just as far as just in general, is it normal for a lawyer to front money for their client and then the client pays them back as part of legal fees?
This is not a normal legal attorney-client relationship. Michael Cohen was putting his own money out there so that Donald Trump can be distanced from the hush money that we know is hush money for political reasons, because that came from David Pecker, Donald Trump's friend. So we don't need Michael Cohen to know it was hush money paid for political purposes, which makes it illegal. Check that box. The second is the document speaks for itself. Weisselberg simply does math, never mentions legal fees. He divides 420 by 12, gets to $35,000, and that's the checks that Donald Trump signed each month. So jury can conclude that Trump lied when he called them legal fees, when in fact he was reimbursing Michael Cohen for hush money.
So help me understand then, if Michael Cohen's testimony doesn't need to be believed, why would the prosecution feel like they needed to call him in this case? And did his testimony potentially harm the prosecution's case? In fact, he at one point acknowledged that he has a stake in the outcome of this trial. He said he would actually benefit more financially if Trump is acquitted. And either way, I mean, isn't that problematic for the star witness to say he has a stake in the outcome?
That's a very good question. If Michael Cohen were on trial and he's under indictment, which is what most of the programs seem to be, in leaving viewers with the impression this Michael Cohen's indicted and his credibility is at stake, and boy, that's going to hurt because he had motive to make money. Well, excuse me, it's Donald Trump who's indicted, but the defense has tried to make Michael Cohen the accused. The answer to your question is it just doesn't matter whether Michael Cohen wanted to make money or whether he's believable. The document speaks for itself. And Hope Hicks, a loyalist to Donald Trump, said it was politically motivated. So did David Pecker. The case has been made. Now, your question is an excellent one. Why have Michael testify at all? I sat for months and months behind closed doors, and all they did with Michael is to go through documents that speak for themselves. The tape speaks for itself, where Donald Trump says, "You mean $150,000 cash?" That's Donald Trump saying cash. So that was what Michael Cohen did. He authenticated, he confirmed facts. You don't need to believe him when he's confirming that that's Weisselberg making notes during the meeting, because the document speaks for itself. You probably could have done without Michael Cohen, but you needed him to thread everything together by confirming what's already in front of your eyes, but you don't have to believe him.
Lanny Davis, thank you very much for being with us this morning. Very much appreciate your time.
Thank you.
It's the time I've been allowed to explain that without interruption, so thank you.
We appreciate your voice. Thank you.
Thank you.